I mean, it just doesn't hold water. These archaeologists and anthropologists, it doesn't make. There's no way. There's no way. Okay, there's no way. It's no way. See, because seriously, these archaeologists, they're Democrats, and Democrats have a way of just making stupid general statements about everything. And that's what these archaeologists are doing with Neanderthals. They're making these stupid democratic general statements about Neanderthals that they were all 5'5". They were all between 5'5" and 5'7", and like from 120 to 135, 40 pounds. No, that's a general statement. That's a stupid ass general statement. No, they weren't. They were all sizes. Neanderthals came in all sizes, just like we do. They had mutants, just like we do. They had deformed They had people born with deformities back then, just like we do in modern human society. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have people born to this day that look like they look more more primitive like than others in today's society. So did they back then. So I want to talk to these archaeologists because I want to tell them. I go, you really got to start thinking before you open your mouth. You don't understand how you think back at what you think the Neanderthals look like, and it really is idiotic. How you describe them. It's idiotic. It doesn't hold up in the real world, in any real world. Okay, I love to sit down with archaeologists and just grill them and saying I'm saying I'd tell them that. I go, no, no, I'm gonna tell them we have short people born to modern humans. I mean, to this day, we have people who look more primitive than others. We have people who are hairier than others. We have people, they had the same thing back then. It was no different. Okay, so this whole I mean, it's a general statement to say, oh, all Neanderthals were 5'5" to 5'7". That is idiotic. I don't know how we ever let this go on because they were like back then like we are now. They came in all shapes and sizes just like we do now. All levels of human species were the same. They all came in different shapes and sizes and deformities. Okay, so you archaeologists, if I don't know if any of I would love that someone get this out to an archaeologist or anthropologist. I would love to battle them over human evolution and tell them how backwards and wrong they are because all they fill it with general statements. They fill it with like general statements, just like one size fits all kind of bullshit, you know, and it's so stupid. And they're Democrats. Archaeologists, anthropologists, you're just more Democrats who want to get paid for doing nothing because you're lazy. You're lazy. You want to get paid for having fun and digging up some crap and getting paid a lot of money to spread your crap, your senseless crap that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because the only way you can determine how humans lived back then is how they live now without the technology, minus the technology. You know, they were flesh and blood just like we are. They were made of bones just like we are. They had the same internal organs as we do. They had hair. They had all the same features we did. Yes, there were some that were born more ape looking. I guarantee you there was a lot more that were born more human looking. Okay, and I think those ones were actually the perfect human specimens. The Neanderthals that we're not finding, that ones that actually led the Neanderthals, I guarantee you they were the perfect human specimens. Were the were the actual Neanderthals that were leading those the ape looking like ones. See, the ones that were running them, the ones that were running the villages were they had kings. Neanderthals probably had leaders. They had leaders back then, and the leaders were the perfect human specimens because they would have had to been to be able to survive in such a harsh environment for as long as they did. Okay, you would have had to been perfectly physically fit back then. You would have had to been perfectly naturally intelligent back then to survive that harsh climate. That makes way more sense than the crap we've been led to believe for the last thousands of years from these idiotic scholars. That's what they are. Scholars are people, like I say, in the real world, they're completely wrong in the real world. And scholars, they're just experts at convincing people what they believe is real. Because no one, because most people don't question them, you know, because for some reason they become part of the elites, and nobody wants to question the elites because they want to send. That's when they send their um, guards out to get you, because they don't want you to find out how full of shit they all are, because it hurts their freaking precious little egos. See, that's what drives scholars. That's what drives all these hellspawn scholars. These hellspawn these worthless most of these Democrats. That's what drives them is their childish little egos. They hate getting their ego hurt. That's the thing they hate most is when you hurt their childish, womanly little egos. You know, that's the only thing that makes them tick is their stupid little egos. You know, and I'm sick of these goddamn the wrong people making all the money, the wrong people running everything because that's you know it needs to stop. It needs to stop. If we're gonna have the government, we need to start electing some intelligent people who know what the hell they're doing. I already said this before. We need to open up some kind of a schooling where people can learn to be, you know, leaders, not just get voted in. They need to learn to be a leader, you know, instead of just mindlessly being voted in by their mindless voters. Anyway, this world needs to be turned back to the warriors and taken out of the hands of the weasel rats running it now. So that's my opinion. But anyway, that's what this movie's kind of show. You know, because if human evolution is completely ass backwards, what else is? Right? We all start from human evolution. Everything starts from human evolution. And if we're taught that backwards, everything's been taught to us backwards. You know, and I think it has. And it's about time. Like, it's anybody's guess what happened that long ago. You know, it's anybody's guess. Like I said, unless you have unedited audio and video recording, you have no one has no idea what happened unless you're there to see it yourself, or you have unedited audio and video recording of it. Then you can believe it. That's the only way. Not from what other people tell you. I don't care who they are, what they supposedly do, what their label is, because that all is a label. Like if they're a professor, that doesn't mean squat to me. That's just a label. Okay, it doesn't mean anything. I don't believe, you know, unless I'm standing side by side with them and I'm seeing the same thing they're seeing. That's the only way I'm going to believe it. You know what they say. So, but that's why I want to make this movie, man, because I mean, it doesn't make any rational sense the way they, um, you know, the way what they think, the way they depict the Neanderthals. It doesn't make any sense. It's totally irrational. It doesn't fit with the times. Okay, it doesn't fit with the times they grew up in. Okay, if they were all the way the archaeologists were saying they were Neanderthals, they would have been wiped out in no time. They wouldn't have lasted, I guess it's 300,000 years. They wouldn't have lasted 300,000 years if they were all little runts. They were stupid, that were slow, and, they only had, like, rock spears they kill huge, short-faced bears with, or mammoth. Those things wouldn't even pierce the skin of a woolly mammoth, those little spears they had back then. Okay? See, the thing that pisses me off is when you see those shows where they test the weapons on dead carcasses and they freeze it, it's still not going to be anywhere near as strong as a living being, and it's not going to move like a living being does. And here's another thing too, that, like, what was it called, History Channel? They have the thing where they test weapons on, and the thing is, now it's a lot different trying to shoot. It's a lot different trying to hit a still target with a spear than with a fast ass short faced bear running at you. It's a lot harder to hit one of those. Even if you do hit one with one of those stupid little spears, I mean, 12 shots with a high powered rifle straight in the face barely kills him. Those little spears ain't gonna do nothing back then.